docked at 142, at 130, at 126, and so it's 11 for Iowa and 1 for Iowa State. And here we go with another one. I'm looking forward to this one as much as that last one. 150 pounds. Jim Heffernan ranked #1 against the brilliant redshirt freshman Tim Krieger of Iowa State, ranked #2.
Krieger has had a great start. He has a real arsenal of attack, and he does a lot of things. He's got nice balance, good hips, has good flexibility. You saw some of it right there, his reactions.
When he was
anticipate a dogfight right here.
When Krieger was introduced tonight, he was introduced as having 1 loss. Well, he forfeited his last match in the Midwest Open, and there seems to be some question about what his record should be. And you say if he didn't wrestle it,
he doesn't lose if he doesn't wrestle.
So
he didn't start the match. That's how it usually is affected, because you have to be in the match in order to lose it. And instead of even going, he just decided not to wrestle because he had that bad leg and bad thumb and was all worn out.
Okay, we have the attendance here. It's the 2nd largest crowd ever for a dual meet. We were here for the last time they had more than 15,000. It's 15,210 in Carver Hawkeye Arena. I know that Assistant Sports Information Director at Iowa, Phil Hattie, was telling us he thought maybe they might beat 12,000 tonight. Well, they beat 15. And
well, they hyped it, and I'll tell you, it has been worth watching, because even though Iowa has the lead, some of the matches have been just outstanding to watch.
Second biggest crowd to ever witness a collegiate dual meet in the United States, 15,210.
Crowds the numbers are being introduced, and everybody applauds for himself or herself.
Carver Hawkeye Arena, these same 2 teams, 15,283.
Krieger is from Mason City, a redshirt freshman. He has the front headlock, but just for a moment.
What we've seen so far is Krieger trying to reach out and get his hands on Heffernan. Heffernan staying in fairly good position, not letting him get tied up.
Well, I think the book on Krieger is he likes to lock up with you.
Yes, he'll throw you if you will lock up with him. But see, Heffernan just kind of keeps him out of there. Stays in position, just pops his arms up and doesn't let Krieger tie him up. He's kind of staying out away from that.
Warning Iowa, crashing the ankle man. Warning Iowa.
Warning against Iowa.
Warning to Heffernan.
Against Heffernan. Krieger had a single leg, but he couldn't keep it.
So he's trying to duck his head in there, so he wants to get in closer to him.
Jim Heffernan, a junior from Ohio, North Olmsted, Ohio.
See a lot of cupping down on the head. There's a nice side single by Heffernan, but he has to improve his position now. Krieger's locked up on top of him. What he doesn't want to do is let Heffernan get height. They'll try to stalemate this by just keeping him there.
Stalemate.
Stalemate.
Again, after this match, remember we have an off-the-mat visit with Randy Lewis. What is he doing now? Well, you'll see. 2-time NCAA champ and the 1984 Olympic gold medalist at 136.5 on our off-the-mat right after Heffernan and Krieger settle their little business here.
It's been more cautious than I anticipated that it would be. And I thought they might get in and lock horns, but so far Heffernan's trying to stay out of that position. See Krieger come in close and try to get into him. He wants to get his hands on him. And Heffernan's kind of stayed out of it. Now he's back down nice and he's been there a couple of times. You see the hips of the Iowa State athlete right now are preventing him from lifting. So he's just got one hip dropped down, the other hip is ready to roll right on top of the head.
Stalemate. Jim Gibbons, he's looking for the first win in a match here, because the draw his brother Joe got at 142 was the best the Cyclones have been able to muster so far. It's 11-1. Subtracted a team point from the Iowa State score.
It's a little far out. Didn't quite have him set up for it. He's caught in a front headlock right now.
We're in the first period, and it's just about over. It is over, no score. How about that? Eddie Bannock and Joe Gibbons, and who'd have figured that last year at this time, huh?
No, that's right, but I'm sure he's giving him some good advice on things that went on. And it's a good athlete that can come right off of there, something that he didn't feel would happen, and still take the advice, ask for it.
All right, Krieger had his choice, and we end up on our feet here.
It kind of surprises me. He's a real tough top man, and knows from one of his teammates, Jackson, who beat Heffernan twice last year, that Heffernan has a little bit of trouble on the bottom. So he chose to go on his feet. Now, he wants to be in with his arm around the waist like that, but he can't get through Heffernan's head, so it isn't effective. There he's back in on him.
Out of bounds. That would have been an interesting little scramble right there.
Heffernan's let Krieger have the offense so far.
11-1 Iowa over Iowa State.
There's a little single-line shot.
Couldn't do it. They beat both of them. They got back again. I have a suspicion this isn't going anywhere.
So I need to keep pressure down. That has to be able to gain elevation in order to be effective right here.
Somebody over at the Iowa State bench, I think, said to Krieger, try to pitch him from there. And you saw, perhaps, the Iowa State lad say, I can't.
Yes, the man kept his hips too low. As long as he stayed down low, Krieger couldn't lift him up. He didn't try.
Heffernan against Krieger. 150.
Heffernan's offense so far has just been to his opponent. You know, he hasn't been able to finish him, and he hasn't really tried to finish him. That's causing him the trouble. He's getting there, but he isn't finishing.
1 point goes to Krieger. So
1 point goes to Krieger, and that's the first point of the match.
People don't like it, but it's the problem that we can see from the outside, trying to remain neutral where we are. Is his shots have been to score, whereas Heffernan's shots have been to secure something and not finish it.
We have just a few seconds left in the second period. At 150, 1-0 Krieger in the red of Iowa State. There's the end of the period. Heffernan was the man who decided to stay up. Krieger wants to take down. Krieger, having deferred to Heffernan, now look at that record, 19-0. He had a tie with an All-American from North Carolina State. Score is 1-0 Krieger.
Well, he's right. They call this a spiral ride. You can see they put the arm down inside of the thigh by Heffernan from Iowa, and then he's right high up underneath the other arm on the inside. And then he just kind of turns his man around the outside knee. There's a switch to get out by Krieger.
And that makes it 2-0. The crowd will start to get in this pretty quick because their man, the Hawkeye, Jim Heffernan, is down by 2.
He's made some good offensive shots, just hasn't finished them. He's going to have to go to one now because he's going to lose this match if he doesn't.
Now the head and arm control just for a moment by Krieger because Heffernan's shot was too far out. They both recover. They've both been able to recover after getting out of position a little bit on either offensive or defensive moves.
They block the other man out well. That's one of the reasons why it doesn't look like they're doing much. When they get there, the other man has such good reaction.
Front headlock by Heffernan is called off. 53 seconds to go. Dan Gable would like to see a little more fire out of Heffernan right at the end of this match.
He's showing a little fatigue. There's a good defense. Got in on it.
And it's
hit him reaching.
And Heffernan has the leg in. He'd like to get a tilt if he could.
Well, he caught Krieger reaching both arms out at the same time. Just hit a little double right underneath that. Score that.
A penalty point Krieger had, an escape, and Heffernan evens it up with a double leg takedown. Right in time. Well,
he has enough time to score another point on right.
Yes, he does. If he rides Krieger out, he wins. He has to ride him out.
This is usually something that's fairly effective against the freshmen. They don't work well against the legs. They don't know exactly what to do. They've got him locked up in here.
Now, if Krieger gets out, he wins. If Heffernan holds him, he wins. So
That's the way it ought to be between number 1 and number 2.
you bet. Heffernan on top. Krieger on the bottom. It's 2-2. Krieger is trying to come up. Couldn't quite do it. Still hasn't been able to do it. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and Heffernan wins. Warning, they're even up. It's a draw. Phil Henning called a penalty point at the very end. And Dan Gable is not pleased about that at all.
He's trying to find out why. What really happened is the man from Iowa State was trying to kick out. The man from IOU was holding on the legs. He penalized the IOU man.
What was the match score?
3-3.
Shake hands, man.
And so it's 3-3. There is Dan Gable, who's now talking to his man Heffernan. And they didn't settle anything, so we had 2 draws. No wonder you wouldn't try to call those matches, Chuck. You knew something about it, huh?
Yeah, that was told ahead of time.
Well, we've come to